I don't trust you after the last time, so I need to check that we're recording.
Yeah, we
You'll
are.
try and fuck with me again. You said no!
Yeah, we've been recording for 12 seconds now.
Oh!
Yeah. Welcome to Doctor Who Rewind, an unofficial unprofessional rewatch podcast where I, Tyrese, and my friend Katie watch and discuss episodes of Doctor Who, with the revival in 2005. I tried so hard. Fuck off, Wednesday Addams. Sick of you fucking... Oh. Can I go?
Yeah.
I forgot where I was.
After that, we'll backtrack to the 60s.
And watch episodes of Classic Who. No, I can see your lips moving. Stop it. In between seasons...
Oh, just go...
You weren't expecting that noise, were you?
I just wanted to beat you to it so bad.
Maybe you don't drink a Rockstar while I'm trying to introduce the episode.
This is Doctor Who Rewind.
It is.
Smooth in your ears.
Could you...
Doctor Who Rewind.
Oh, yeah. The last... So, as of July... So...
Oh, God, are you going to say a date that's in the future?
No, so July 5th.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, as of July 5th, we have good podcast audio. Like, way better than we've been doing. We've had good mics, which is, like, good quality, but, like, not, like, good audio. This episode that we are currently recording, this doesn't air until the 26th. So, we're, like, 20 days.
July.
Uh-huh, yeah. That's it.
Cool.
Daleks in Manhattan. I always want to call this Daleks Take Manhattan, kind of like the
Angels.
game. No, I was thinking the game Kim Kardashian Takes Hollywood.
That's not what the game's called. It's just called Kim Kardashian
Yeah,
Hollywood.
What? What about it? About Kim Kardashian? Was that? You said
I'm a level 26 A-lister. I don't appreciate you slagging it off like that.
Fuck off, you don't dress like one.
No, I don't do it. I have a great outfit in the game, though.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Spent all my Kim coins, didn't I?
Oh my fucking God. Is it coins with a K, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hate that for you.
I wouldn't have to change my name if they adopted me, you know.
This episode was written by Helen Raynor and directed by James Strong. I'm pretty sure James Strong did No, it was Charles Palmer who did the first few. Have we seen James Strong's name before?
I don't know, but it does sound familiar.
Yeah. I'm like, James Strong.
Have a look.
James. Oh, yeah, he did Impossible Planet and Satan Pit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep, fair enough. Loves a two-parter, James Strong. I love the cold open here.
Yeah, it's really good.
You put the devil in... No, I'm kidding.
And also, Margot Robbie looks so good in this episode.
Fuck you. That's not her name. That's not her name. Sorry. Speaking of, though, should we go through the cast?
Let's do it.
Miranda Ryerson, I don't know how it's pronounced, is Tallulah. Ryan Carnes is Laszlo. Hugh Quashie is Solomon, who doesn't have a surname. Eric Lauren is Mr. Diagoras. His IMDb picture is this episode.
Mr. Diagoras?
Diagoras, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I haven't... yeah. His IMDb picture, I wonder if he's been in anything else. Let's check now. Oh, basically, he's done a lot of voices in games.
Oh, yeah, he was in Horizon.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Good for him. He's done a lot of Lego games too, but I mean, who hasn't? Like voice actor wise, I mean, not not just in general. And Andrew Garfield is Frank, and then obviously, I'm gonna assume that Nicholas Briggs is in here doing a lot of voice work for the Daleks.
Yeah.
Because of course,
how about our friend
is.
Paul Casey?
I'm not seeing him. Here. Yeah.
Paul. Come on, man.
Yeah. How do you feel about Laszlo in this opening scene? Very cutesy.
I know that their whole dynamic has to be like really sweet and nice and stuff, so we can like feel sad about what will happen. But I love him.
They're the kind of couple that uses the phrase "make love" unironically.
Like
she's like, but me and Laszlo made love. I know he's gonna come back.
Yeah, I love Laszlo until I think they're really cute. I think they're really sweet.
But then what happens? Dies. Get pigged. Fucking get pigged, innit?
Very sad.
That's my note. Laszlo.
Did you notice the sad clown at the start of this episode, by the way?
No.
All of the showgirls like run to the stage or whatever, and then there's a sad clown who has dropped his juggling balls on the floor, and he just kind of looks at them and then starts to pick them up. And it just makes me a bit sad, actually.
Aesthetically, I'm gonna do I think a little gushy in this episode.
This episode is gorgeous.
It's aesthetically.
Oh yeah.
If someone was like, "What time period would you like to live in?" Just for the aesthetics, not for like the racism and the Market Street crash and the world
wars. Yeah.
And not to mention get pigged. I would like to like this one where like even though I'm asthmatic, I would love to be in a room with like just a nice thin layer of smoke. Not like a stupidly in your face smoke, but like a thin layer of smoke. And for some reason you can always hear glasses moving, like always, just cause. And there's always a guy who knows how to play a piano, and for some reason he's always called Johnny. That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
All of the time. I want someone to force me to drink whiskey even though I hate whiskey. And I'd be like, thank you. Like that's how I want to live. Can we go there?
You want to go to the Art Deco time and chill out there? And
I want to go to a speakeasy.
A speakeasy.
I'm going to forget you said that.
I would like to go to a speakeasy.
It's like they don't do Ren fairs for this time period, and they should. Caroon fairs, when you caroon, and what is it? How would you say it?
Caroon?
The swinging fair.
The Roaring 20s, isn't it?
No, this is the 60s.
This isn't the 60s.
This is 1960.
This episode takes place in...
No, it's 1930.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, dude.
Yeah, no, it's 30, 'cause it's the Depression, right?
Yeah, it's the Depression, sweetie.
Is that, oh, yeah, that's what she says, isn't it?
Which, by the way...
I'm going to check where she's from because her accent is
I know
really
the guy
good.
who plays Mr. Diagorus is actually
British.
from... No, he's from Boston.
America.
Yeah.
She grew up in Burnham Thorpe. Yeah, North Norfolk. She is not.
Has she been in other stuff?
I just bit a hole in my gum. Anything that we'd know her from. Thomas and Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Elden Ring.
Cool.
Artemis Fowl. Uncredited.
She's one of those people who I think does very well in a period piece. She has the look of like an old-timey person. And I know it's like hair and makeup and stuff as well, but like even so, I saw this last on TikTok once and she was like certain people that you can't cast in like period pieces because they look like they know what an iPhone is. And she's not one of these people.
I'm just having a look to see if Laszlo is, like where he's from. Oh, wait.
Where?
Carnes grew up on a farm outside a small rural town in Illinois. He's got mental Illinois.
Oh.
Love mental Illinois.
I've been to Illinois.
Ah, cool.
Briefly. And then I left a few hours later to get a plane.
Katie, stop eating your Pringles.
I'm not
going
to eat my Pringles.
You're not going to eat them?
No.
Right, microphone right to the mouth when you do that now.
When I do what?
When you crunch. Go on. Have your spicy Pringles. Not all of them in one. Do you feel like you're being told off? Is that what it is? No, I feel like if I ever got to a point where you felt like you were actually being told off, I'd be able to tell because I think you'd cry.
Oh, yeah. I'd cry.
Yeah.
Instantly. You'd raise your voice a little bit and I'd be like,
what do you think of the fake out jump scare when he looks at the Captain Morgan spiced rum dude?
It's
he's
silly in a fun way.
It's like in every horror movie where it's like, oh, God, I'm fine. Turn around once more. It's like, and it's like, oh, shit, I got pigged. And then he gets pigged, obviously. Get pigged.
Yeah, well, he does the dumb, I'm going to chase the mysterious thing into the dark. No.
I heard a noise. Better check it out.
And I'm like, no, don't actually. Don't do that.
Yeah. All the swing music is great. The episode has Americans.
Yeah.
Which Doctor Who doesn't do very often.
No. What are you defining as American? Like
an American with an American accent. Just from anywhere in America.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who sometimes is like, oh, what if we do like New Earth and all of the...
Every single person there sounds like they're from the UK.
Yeah, right. But this one really likes it. Love Hooverville. The
Hooverville set is so good.
Love Solomon. Love him. There is anything with...
When Solomon comes in, he does the Solomon thing, right? The King Solomon thing.
He breaks bread.
Yeah. And I was like, haha, I know that.
I don't. I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about.
The thing about King Solomon.
Just assuming that breaking bread is...
there was like two, I think it's biblical, where there was like two women who were like fighting over a baby.
So he ripped the baby in half.
That was what he said he was going to do, was going to cut the baby in half.
Oh God, I didn't expect that.
Because one of the women would be like, no, don't do that to like my child or whatever, as like a way to figure it out. So when he does that and he like rips the bread in half and he's like, you can both have...
Makes more sense with bread.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, I'm just going to rip that baby in half and then
obviously,
you can both have...
the baby does not get ripped in half.
You can each have one half baby. Anything with homelessness really hits me. Like anything. It's one of those things where I'm like, if I ever have money and like enough to be like, this isn't making a difference to me, I got to like put it somewhere else. Like homelessness and anyone who has empty stomach is up there. I'm like, fucking hate it.
Yeah.
You know, because...
I don't know if you noticed, but there was tents last night when we were leaving the pub.
Tents. Oh, yeah, I know what you're on about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. But I mean, I don't want to bounce around the episode, but I don't think we'll get to this like dialogue specifically where Solomon like points up to the Empire State and he's like, how come they can build that, but we have like, a few hundred people starving in the middle of Central Park. And we had that in our town a few years ago when they were like, and even now where they're like building it, we've had a lot of construction work in our town over the last 10 years.
Do you know how many new estates have been put up? Like, I was going to be like in my lifetime, but it doesn't even matter about that, like recently.
Yeah, like in the last 10 years it's gone insane.
You have all of these estates of houses that are sat there that for the most part are empty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what will it take from you to just be like, hey, I can use these for good instead of fucking capitalism?
We're also like a small town too.
Yeah, exactly.
That obviously globally a lot of homeless people in like our town, at least small town, not a huge amount. You could help them and still build a substantial thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Pisses me off.
The answer though is that the government doesn't care.
What? No way.
Crazy, right?
That's so whoa.
Someone's going through a hard time and the government's just got to take care of themselves. Unheard of.
No.
Oh no, poor government has less money. Oh.
Is government gonna cry? Is government gonna cry
about it? Oh.
What?
Nothing.
What is it?
Nothing. Let's just talk.
Nothing. Let's just talk. Stop eating! Oh my god.
Fine. I'll put them back in the Pringles tub. Will that make you happy?
Yeah.
All right.
Gee, I don't mind a snack, but that's such an obtrusive snack.
Sorry, they're just really good.
It takes up the whole mouth and it's so crunchy. The Tang Fast Sticks were better. You haven't even eaten them all.
I like variety.
It's a slight spice of life.
The thing, right, if I was Martha, I'd be a little pissed. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So your first adventure with the Doctor, like, it's unplanned. It just happens. Smith and Jones.
Whoa, rhinos in space.
Yeah, it just happened. And then I feel like, I don't remember. He didn't let her pick, right? He was just like, Shakespeare would be good.
Yeah. And she steps in shiss immediately.
Yeah. Straight in the shiss. But like, Shakespeare's a good call. I think like he's the historical figure that's interesting enough to pretty much anyone if you could go and see, and then by gridlock, it's like, okay, come to the same place me and my ex went. And then after that adventure goes horribly, horribly wrong. He's like, well, New York didn't work.
Regular New York.
How about regular New York? I'd be like, excuse me, Doctor. Can I please see something cool?
Well, you're telling me that the Empire State Unfinished isn't cool. But the Doctor gets here and he's almost like, where are we then? Like, it's just like, like he's hit random, but somehow has ended up in
New York.
I don't know whether it's a Rose deal where, it's implied that there are other off-screen adventures. I don't think Martha has that.
I don't think she does.
I feel like
for a while.
I feel like almost every adventure we see feels like these are the ones that she is on all the time.
I feel like I'll give it a pass for anything after Lazarus. But I feel like up until Lazarus, these are just the adventures that she goes on.
Yeah. There is I like the thing that Solomon says. I'll find it when we get there. Because, I mean, we could sit and talk about the bad green screen when they first see New York, or, Martha picking up the newspaper and saying the date exactly. But it's just Doctor Who stuff, right? These are like those are sort of what you get.
I have another thing as well that I noticed about Martha is that, she seems to have a lot of like obscure knowledge.
Yeah.
And one of those things is how she knows the year the Empire State Building was finished. And I don't think I think if you're American, maybe that might be more common knowledge. But as a British person, I don't think the majority of people.
No,
so I'm like, is she in history? Can I put that under like obscure Martha knowledge?
Maybe just pub quiz knowledge.
Well, she says to her mum late in 42, right, when she's like, "Oh, I'm doing a pub quiz." So
that's true.
Yeah, maybe Martha's just
maybe we would win more pub quizzes if we were shot into the sun.
Even if Martha was with us, that's like
maybe if we were just like hurtled towards the sun at like a breakneck speed, we'd probably get more questions right.
If that was it, if it was you are dead in 42 minutes unless you get these questions right.
Yeah. There's a thing Solomon says when they ask how many people live here, and Solomon says, at any one time hundreds, no place else to go. But I will say this about Hooverville: we are a truly equal society, black, white, all the same, all starving. So you're welcome, both of you, but tell me, Doctor, you're a man of learning, right? Explain this to me. there's going to be the tallest building in the world. How come they can do that? We've got people starving in Manhattan. But like that bit where he's like, we obliterated racism because we are all hungry. Like we all have a common thing, and that is we are all just fucking starving.
Yeah. When it comes down to like human survival, shit like that really does not matter.
I think everyone should go hungry all at once, but no, actually I take that back. But only the billionaires should go hungry.
Yeah.
So they could be like, oh shit, that's how it feels to be hungry.
No more personal chefs for you, billionaires.
Fuck you.
You don't get that luxury anymore.
Imagine having a personal chef.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm like, it would be kind of cool, but then at the same time, I'm like, it's so unnecessary.
I think the only time it would be like super, super helpful is if you are like that busy in the day where you have time to eat, but you don't have time to make the eat.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah, because like sometimes you're like, I want food, but I am too busy to make food. I'll just get takeaway. And sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want a home cooked meal. Or if you are catering for a large amount of people, I think those are the passable times you can have a personal chef.
Well, I mean, that's when you hire like a caterer for like a one event, right? You don't need a chef at all times for that.
Yeah, that's true.
So get off your high horse.
All right, sorry.
And then we cut to the Empire State Building, and then you get Mr. Pythagoras talking to a bunch of people.
Before you see those dudes who are just free climbing the scaffolding, no thank you.
Well, that's one of the things, right?
Like, I know that is just like what you did, right? Before like safety equipment and shit, but even still, fucking no.
Because the one of the workers, the foreman, as he's down as in this, is like, they're talking about that they've got new bosses. And I'm like, okay. So the Daleks just came in and were like, ours.
Yeah.
Having that. We'll have
they
that,
didn't need a
actually.
business license. They just came in and they were like, we'll take over payroll. Don't worry about it.
I think that this Dalek story, by the way, how do you feel about the story for the Daleks?
It's fine. It's not a great use of Daleks, gotta say. But
I kind of love it.
do you?
Yeah. I like the idea that these, at least for the Cult of Skaro, who feel more like actual characters than just Daleks.
I'll give it a, because like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate it or anything.
No.
But I think that this is one of those, you can only do it with the Cult of Skaro. This isn't a regular Dalek story, so they don't use regular Daleks.
I think that this, having the Daleks actually thinking, is like, rather than them being like, and we're here and evil, let's fucking kill again.
Yeah, like they have a plan.
They show up and they look around and they go, and you got to remember, these guys have been sucked from 2006, 2007, right?
Yeah.
Straight out and then popped into into Manhattan in like 1930.
I like that it gives sort of the impression that when the emergency temporal shifted or whatever, their numbers were down. They were like, probably a bit bashed up. Probably.
It truly was a random place.
Yeah, probably not doing so great. And then they landed here, and then they were like, let's spend some time and infiltrate and like make the best of it. Because this is like obviously it's not like a full scale invasion or anything, but this is like a Dalek plan in full force by the time that like the Doctor gets here.
I love that they sort of think way more, to a point where when you get there, they've been to 2007, they're now at 1930, and they're looking around and going, Doctor's killed a lot of us.
Yeah.
How come humans, like, how do they persevere through every little thing?
Whichever Dalek it is says to Diagoras, right? Says that a version of New York exists, like in every timeline or whatever, and like the Daleks' home planet is gone and stuff. And I think that as much as, like, I think this is an episode that you need as a two-parter to, do both parts at once. This is one of those, because as much as I don't love the Daleks in the first part, in the second part, I like them a lot.
Well, that's because they have a, like
I know it's because they have a bigger role, but like...
Well, they also have like a clash inside their own little clique, right?
Which I like. That's like that's like a fun thing.
Well, it's a very legitimate point of, what am I trying to, like conflict with Dalek Sec, where Dalek Sec is like, humans are always around forever.
Yeah.
So there is something to human, whether it's like the physiology of them, like anatomically, whatever it is, there is something about humans that is longer lasting than Daleks. We have to change and move, and the other Daleks are like, oh, how about this? No.
Yeah.
How about that Sec?
So yeah, they've infiltrated. I just want to say, right, to every single one of these like poor little, scaffolding guys, don't work anywhere where the unseen bosses are referred to as the masters.
Yeah, no.
That if I went to work right, if I went to work tomorrow and I was like, hey, do we have any more of this thing? And someone went, I'll have to check with the master. I'd be like, what now?
No. I like
You?
the Daleks' plan is they were like, right, Dalekanium right up there. By the way, stupid name, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Dalekanium up on the top. Okay. It's got to be done in like a week.
Because it was
fair enough. And then the Daleks went, shit, boys, the weather forecast's changed.
like,
Got to be faster.
oopsie-daisy. What was it they called it in isn't it like polycarbide or whatever?
Polycarbide, I think, was in like Doomsday and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're just like Dalekanium.
Which, to be fair, I don't mind Dalekanium. I know I said I hate it a second ago.
I think
I'm lying.
it's a silly sci-fi
campy as fuck,
name.
right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, of course, that's what it's called. There is a scene here because that's when Diaris comes up and speaks to which I don't know which Dalek it is that comes up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell any of the bronze ones apart
from Sec.
But I'm
right?
like, Sec, because you're a different colour entirely.
He comes upstairs and, the Dalek's like, my planet was lost, humans survive or whatever.
Mhm.
And Diaris says something about how he's going to rule this city one day, like, and I'll do it. And he says something later that I think is like a fun little bit of, like intentional or otherwise, it's a fun little bit of foreshadowing where he says, well, I ain't afraid of no man in a suit.
Mm.
And I'm like, hey.
Well then.
It's clever. There's another thing later that someone says as well. But anyway.
Or are we going to get to it?
Well, no, we'll get to it.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's soon.
Then I think like it's almost immediately there's like a little conversation back at Hooverville, but then Diaris shows up with his little pinstripe guards.
Yeah, because
what do you hear? What do you say?
It's when the doctor's like, so like how can people go missing? Like you don't, there's so many people coming and going.
Yeah.
How can you know if they're missing?
And Solomon's like, they fucking scream.
Every time we say Diagoras, my brain is like, that's not his name.
That's why I've got him written down as Mr. Pythagoras.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
That's how I was referring to him the entire time, and all of my notes is Mr. Pythagoras. And Tallulah was just Tula because it's too long to write down.
Because
I'm gonna, when this notebook is full, which I feel like is going to be, if I don't fill it by the end of Tenant, then after Tenant I will stop. But I mean, you're
pretty decently in there.
Yeah. I'm going to start doing digital notes after that. Because I'm not buying the notebook and I'm like, I can type faster than I write.
That's why I stopped doing handwritten notes.
I'm like, but you do that in like episode 1 of the show.
I did it for the first 2 episodes of the show.
I've done it for all 36, 37.
We used to watch them together and take notes. We used to watch them together and sit and write down the notes.
In silence.
Yeah.
It was a good idea not watching it together, right?
Isn't it weird when you think that we're not even this far in and that's how we started this?
Mr. Pythagoras, right?
Okay.
There is a one-legged man in this episode. Did you catch him?
Yeah, I did.
He was just in like a crossover sort of transition shot, right? Yeah. And I was like, hey, look at you. Blah, blah, blah.
Just cutting about Hooverville. Yeah, so Mr. Pythagoras comes in.
Yeah, and so the doctor is like, yeah, and he's like,
trip down the sewers for $1 a day.
Well, he puts his hand up and Pythagoras is like, no more questions. And he's like, no, I want to go.
Yeah.
What are you shouting at me for?
I want to turn in the sewers.
And Martha's like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
And then Charlie works what it is.
Yeah, and then Solomon is like, okay, fine, I'll go. And then Andrew Garfield is like, I'll go too, sir. And I'm like, all right, cool, good for you.
Yeah.
And
so, which on paper, right, this is kind of a crack team.
Oh, 100%. Like, if I could see these guys just fucking
just
around.
Do more stuff,
just cutting about New York for a while. Be sick, right?
Yeah, because all of them are very endearing to obviously the Doctor and Martha like have to be, they're the main characters. But like Solomon and what's his name? Frank?
Yeah, Frank.
Yeah, like even the two of them, I'm like, I immediately like you.
Well,
but same with Tallulah. I think the side characters this episode are very standout.
They do some stuff with Frank where they make him like immediately likable. Because Frank is the one who's like, what's the money? What is the money?
Yeah, $1 a day.
And he's like, $1 a day. Imagine being like, okay, but I mean, when you're hungry, you'll do whatever, right?
Well, is it Solomon that says that that's slave wage?
He says that's slave wage. I'll see if I can find it here.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to look for something as well.
Solomon says $1 a day. That's slave wage, and men don't always come back up, do they? And Diagoras just says accidents happen, and the doctor, of course, just goes, "What do you mean? What sort of accidents?" Because he has to look at the bad things and go, "I want to get to the bottom of those." Would you like me to look for it with a Control F?
Common labour starting wage. This is 1930.
Oh, you're looking it up?
Yeah.
I thought you were looking a script thing up.
No, I'm just because I'm curious. Because this says, and this is off like one quick Google search, so don't like quote me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But this one here says that common labour starting wage was 43 cents per hour in 1930.
43 cents per hour.
The median annual salary / wage income in 1939 for white people was 956. And this cuts off before it can say what the other price is for. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be not for white people, and it's like $600 less. And I'm like, oh,
Jesus.
Come on.
That was less than 100 years ago.
Well, you can sort wages by state. This is like...
Doesn't that feel ancient? Like absolutely, that should have been like 1,000 years ago, but it's like 100. And that's like 100 isn't much, actually.
It's insane. It's insanity. Controversial take. Pay people for the work that they do.
Yeah. Speaking of, I've paid our artist. Frank is just a wholesome dude, right?
Yeah.
Immediately.
I just like him. Like Andrew Garfield of it all, because I just like Andrew Garfield. Like that aside.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Also, it's Andrew Garfield. Okay,
Yeah.
we haven't mentioned that yet.
Yeah,
like not properly at least. Like
Frank,
hey,
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield is in an episode of Doctor Who, and I remember when he was cast as Spider-Man, and my dad was like, "Have you seen who Spider-Man is going to be?" And I was like, "No," and he was like, "Andrew Garfield," and I was like, "Fucking cool."
Who is this?
Dad, I'm 14. And he was like, "Oh, he was in Doctor Who," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Who has?" And he was like, "Frank," and I was like, I don't know who that is. Like a throwaway character. I don't pay attention to that sort of thing yet. And then I go back and I'm like, all right, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, just even in this, he is a standout.
Yeah.
The one of the first things, because you get like a few short sentences from him, right? And then they go into the sewers, and the first thing Frank says to Martha, I think, is, "We just got to stick together. It's easy to get lost. It's like a huge rabbit warren. You could hide an army down here." And I'm like,
yeah, that was my other thing.
The first line that you say that's not like about Diagras and all this stuff when you are like in your little group is, "We just have to stick together." I'm like,
yeah,
you're good, you.
Yeah, that was the other thing that he said, by the way, when he's like, "You could hide an army down here." And I'm like, oh, I hope that never comes back.
Get pigged.
Get pigged. This is just a me note that doesn't mean anything to you, but I'm like, oh my God, Andrew Garfield is a better cannonball in like 2 episodes of Doctor Who than Charlie Heaton was in an entire New Mutants movie.
Yeah.
His whole thing is that he's like a decent, nice, hardworking farm boy.
Is this the New Mutants you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
I didn't
like
watch it.
Bad movie, but like his whole.
Was that
character,
the one with Maisie Williams?
Yeah, and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Cannonball's whole thing is just that he's like, I'm just like a nice dude, but like not in a shitty way. When he's just like he works hard and he cares about his family and his friends, and he's from like not Middle America, like fucking the South. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you get Frank's backstory of like his dad dying and his mum not being able to afford to feed him, and you're like, oh, you've got the best sub story ever, and you're just so wholesome and nice. I wonder if you're gonna get kidnapped soon.
I wonder if you're gonna get pigged.
I wonder if they're trying to make us feel good for you so that they can do a horrible thing to us as the audience.
So they can sweep the rug from beneath us when we least expect it.
And then they encounter a jellyfish. Does Martha think that is food? Because she says it's gone off, and I'm like, okay, you don't refer to a dead animal as it's gone off.
It's gone off, no.
You only refer to something that's gone off if it's food, right?
Well, is this before or after the doctor says it's like, what do you say, composite organic matter or whatever?
A luminous green jellyfish lying on the floor. It's not human, I know that. Where are we now? So Martha says, is it radioactive or something? It's gone off, whatever it is, and you've got to pick it up, because that's, I guess, how she would deliver it. The doctor says, shine your torch through it. Composite organic matter, Martha, medical opinion. So it's before that. She is like, are we going to eat this?
Do you know who would have? Do you know who would have eaten it?
Who?
Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, actually.
She would have just taken a bite. Just scran, wouldn't she?
No. Does she? I mean, I don't remember her telling you too much, but does she actually eat that much shit just on screen?
Like one time she eats dirt. But
I know we've made jokes about her eating dirt. We've made a lot of jokes about her just eating dirt. I feel like that's one of those jokes that we come back to and we're like, that's so funny, but we don't talk about it more.
The thing is, I think it's one of those things that the absurdity of it on its own is funny to just be like, yeah, Jodie Whittaker eats dirt. But like, if you try and do anything else with that.
The way you say it makes it sound like she just does that outside of Doctor Who.
Yeah, no, she just does that.
Just for fun.
I've said to people, by the way, who are not familiar with us or who don't listen to the podcast, like I was at home a while ago and me and my mum were looking through Disney Plus, and there was something that she was in on there, and I was like, oh, is that Jodie Whittaker? And I was like, I'm not going to put it on, I just want to check, and it was like, cast Jodie Whittaker, and I was like, she eats dirt, and my mum was just like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, she eats dirt.
She doesn't eat dirt.
Jodie Whittaker does not eat dirt.
Jodie Whittaker will not be friend of the podcast, Jodie Whittaker. If you can,
Jodie, I'm sorry. I know that you don't eat dirt.
Oh, first name basis with Miss Whittaker now, are you?
Well, I wasn't going to be like, Mrs. Whittaker, I'm sorry. I know you don't eat dirt. So please talk about anything else.
One of my favourite things you do is just be like, can we talk about something else, please? As soon as you say an embarrassing thing and you're like, can we just change the subject?
Yeah.
Because you don't have it in you to just change the subject. You have to
No.
like ask for it to happen. I would rather be replaced than risk my hands getting cold and falling off of the Empire State Building.
Oh, hell yeah.
Someone's like, oh, you get $1 a night, you're going to go up there and you're going to be cold.
Is it?
He's like, our hands will get numb, we'll freeze and fall. And I'm like, okay, yeah, replace me.
Is it a high enough fall that you'd reach terminal velocity?
I don't know, but is that because like if you die then you don't feel it? Because it's just... shoom.
I mean, either way, like falling off anything, I don't think is a good way to die.
Depends on the distance, right?
No, obviously it depends on the distance. Like I'd rather fall from a higher thing and just be like immediate death on impact than like break bones and suffer and stuff, obviously. But like,
I feel like the worst thing would be the just surviving.
well, I feel like you see it, right? Like you are falling and you see
I would
the
never.
crowd getting
Oh
closer,
God,
like,
shush! I didn't think about it, and now I don't want to talk about it either.
yeah,
Oh, stop it! Pythagoras.
yeah.
He's not like evil. He's not
He's
like
just like a sleazy businessman,
he's not.
right?
He's not threatening, but he's hateable.
I feel like he's the kind of guy who you start something with, and then he's like, "I'll get my like men to sort it out." And it's like he won't lay a hand on you.
You know when you've got a manager, but there's a boss above your manager, and your manager's a dickhead, and then there's a big boss, and you're like, "Oh, you're just scared of the big boss. You're scared of the big boss in the same way that other people are scared of you."
Yeah.
Fucking shut up. That's how I feel about Pythagoras. I'm like, you know what? Is it because I call him Pythagoras every time?
This is kind of funny.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like whenever he says a thing, I'm like, you are actually just being told what to do.
Yeah.
There's like you are no better than the other people that you are just telling what to do because you are also just being told what to do.
Well, I think as well though, I think like one thing that does help make him like you say, not evil, but just like sleazy and stuff is him being like, I'm gonna rule the city, whatever it takes.
Everybody wants to.
Because I'm like, anytime someone's like, whatever it takes, then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So morals don't matter.
Yeah. I mean, this is where you get the mention of Dalek Katie, but we've already sort of gone through that. I think, and this is where I have a note where I'm like, Dalek stories, I think, should sort of be about ambition and progress and stagnant mindsets and like the whole thing of like, I'm not saying that Daleks always have to be like, and the next thing is like, Daleks are one of the villains that evil for sake of evil kind of work for me.
It's the only villain that evil for the sake of evil. Like in the Doctor Who context anyway, it's the only one that makes sense to me.
So, but seeing them have an actual story put to them, like in this, where they're like, they're having like, this is like Daleks if they had an existential crisis and they're like, oh shit, what do we do? There's 4 of us.
They're in their like teen angst phase.
Well, Dalek sex is, he's like, there is 4 of us and billions of humans.
Yeah.
Like they're doing something right.
Yeah. Which like...
But then you've got the stagnant mindset angle of the other 3 who are like, yes, of course, Dalek's sick. And then like they go into the corner like, we've got to fucking take this guy out.
Yeah,
we're
planning a mutiny, guys.
Rid of him.
Planning a mutiny, boys. Let's go.
Dalek Khan's like, hey, planning a mutiny. Dalek Sec, do you love me? Do you love me though? But can I be good like you though, please? He's just immediate grass. Imagine getting grassed on by a Dalek.
To who?
Just no law, is there?
No. At one point, what is it? Someone says something to the Dalek and they're like, don't worry. And then it says Daleks have no concept of worry. And I'm like, that's the first thing that's ever sold being a Dalek to me.
We don't.
Yeah, they just don't.
That you want to be a Dalek and no worrying.
You know when you tell someone that you're like freaking out about something and they go, just don't think about it. And then I'm like, cool, never thought of that.
That's
like
my dad.
You turn to a Dalek and you're like, don't think about it. And he's like, mate, I'm not. Like, oh, dream.
That was the one time I was like, going through it a bit last year and I was like, I'm feeling like a little bit depressed, but I was like, just don't be sad.
Okay, cool, I won't.
Do you know what's weird? When Pythagoras goes down to the basement to see Dalek Sec and the cult of Skaro, he puts gloves on, puts his little black...
Do you know why?
Why?
Because spread of COVID-19. No, that was not even funny.
No, I hate you. No one wants reminding of that.
Coughs and sneezes spread diseases.
Oh, that was last Saturday.
No,
Saturday just gone.
Apparently the reason was that they, for whatever reason, didn't know if they would have the prosthetic hands for the hybrid sec. Didn't know if they would have those ready to go.
Oh.
So they had a scene of him wearing black gloves.
So that if he had the head, he could just have the gloves
to cover it up. But as it turned out,
they had the hands.
They had the hands and it was fine.
So me mentioning that was a good thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah.
But yeah, there you go. It was a.
It's cool how I'm like, that's confusing, but then like it's done for a behind the scenes reason.
Yeah,
that has,
an
like,
insurance
logic.
that didn't like need to pay off.
That's like that one shot that we were talking about in Smith and Jones, where it's like that.
Oh, the door.
Opening the door. Yeah.
I'll tell you something about this. The pig snorting, like the quiet pig snorting, does wonders for the atmosphere. Like I don't know if the Daleks plan that, but like. Because why do you think they pick pigs? Because pigs are quite intelligent.
Well, I was thinking about this because I was like, Aliens of London, like that you had pigs grafted onto a person. Then
Yeah.
I'm like, why do they always experiment on pigs? But yeah, the pigs do have an intelligence thing. Right?
Yeah, I think they're saying like dolphins, dogs, rats, pigs, like those kind of animals. Incredibly
Stop trying to justify the rats to me.
I'm not trying to justify the rats to you. They're just incredibly intelligent, and you can teach them to do cool things like basketball.
I'm sure they also crunch like quavers when you stand on them. So
Don't
let's just
you dare! Don't you dare!
Sorry, I just found a note of mine. I guess we'll go through it later. Also, new season, new Who, RTD2, not the droid, the person.
Yeah.
Russell the Deceiver.
2, Electric Boogaloo.
Bring back hierarchy systems and Daleks with names. I want Daleks to be characters. I don't just want them to be Daleks. I'm sick of being like, a number.
I'm not all about Daleks with names, but I like it when Daleks do, like, there's the, obviously, Emperor. You've got, I know that Davros isn't a Dalek, but I feel like he falls in the Dalek hierarchical structure. The Supreme Dalek, right?
That one is like, I'm giving it a miss. I don't care.
No, but it's like different.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I like the idea that only the cult of
Dalek
Skaro...
Khan loses his mind and sees into time and shit, right?
Yeah,
That's so
great.
cool.
It's awesome.
Do that again. There hasn't been a Dalek like that since then, right?
Do you know what would be a fun conversation? No, there hasn't. But do you know what would be a fun conversation?
What?
On or off mic is having a whole, what are you doing with the Daleks?
What?
Like if someone said to you, hey, you got to write the next Dalek story.
Oh, we can do a what ifs.
Yeah. When ifs. Time and space,
Please
baby.
don't. I hate that quote. When are we? Shut up.
The past.
That's like an Inspector Spacetime question, not a Doctor Who question. We don't do that here. We do
Welcome
in
to Inspector
Shakespeare.
Spacetime Rewind. I'll tell you something. Being mobbed by a pig people, a horrible thing.
How good are the pig stacks though?
They are really good.
Get pigged? Pig stacks.
Great. They are great.
The wet noses really get you, right?
I think it's the eyes as well, like something.
Oh, when he's shining the light into it and he's like, shame,
Yeah.
just the fear.
But yeah, when Frank gets yonked down by them.
Yonked.
I meant to say yanked, but clearly I didn't.
It's fine.
Thanks for drawing
What do you
attention
think
to
of,
it.
I think it's before that, the idea that Daleks were putting ideas in Pythagoras' mind? Is that something they've done before in like classic Who? Because so far, we've had no mention of them being
mind control
like,
Daleks.
about anything.
Not unless, you know how like sometimes...
I did the 2 fingers to the side of the head
You
thing,
did
by the
Professor
way.
X.
Yeah, I wasn't just like making noises.
Okay, off the top of my head, I really cannot tell you or remember.
Okay.
But I feel like, you read a comic from the 60s and like someone puts like a thing in because it's the 60s and then eventually it sort of dies out, but if you go back, it's still there. And it's just, everyone just kind of chooses to gloss over it. That's how I feel about like Daleks
like this could be
being able
listed
to
as
do
like
this.
a power set ages ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we can use
like
that.
there's a whole bit in like 60s X-Men about how like Magneto has some kind of telepathic ability and I
Yeah.
hate it. And then after the 60s, it's just ignored.
I think the problem with it for me is that Pythagoras is just such a pushover that you didn't need to put thoughts in his mind. You probably could have just showed up and been like, look, we're big scary metal robots, watch this, Pyam, kill a man who's next to him and be like, this is what we are capable of.
1, we are scary, and 2, we want power, you want power. Together, we both get, like, we need you need us sort of deal. I think that works fine.
Yeah, then, so like you say, Frank gets tucked, gets kidnapped.
It's picked.
I love Tallulah with the gun stuff, this scene where they meet Tallulah because they climb up into her...
It's not like
room, right?
it's like it's like a prop storage, right?
And it's the prop room, I guess. And then she has a little one-on-one with Martha, doesn't she?
Yeah, I like Martha and Tallulah together. Like it's like a rare thing, but I like their little scenes together.
They talk about like how she got the role and everything, right? They have like a nice little
Yeah, and it's like kind of implied that Tallulah might have Tonya Harding'd someone, and she's like, "I didn't do it." Would she say that other girl like broke her leg in some like backstreet review or something, and she's like had nothing to do with me?
Katie will make a remark about the ankle breaking. That's a note that I wrote in my book.
Cool. Should we reevaluate the amount of time that we spend together, do you think?
I don't care. Shut up. No, right? And do you know what? I don't care how this sounds. Not for my sake.
What? How does that sound?
I think that if you didn't see me in the quantity you do,
oh yeah,
you would probably go insane.
Yeah.
We shouldn't laugh or smile about that. I just want to let it be known because I know that my laugh was the outward one. You were also smiling and laughing at that. I wasn't laughing at you. But yeah, I love
it's a depression, sweetie.
Yeah, it's 3 L's and an H.
Say it in the voice. You can do the voice. I can't.
I don't want which should we just go through an entire scene? Laszlo's my boyfriend. That accent.
Yeah, I love it.
I like how quickly she changes to. She goes, Laszlo's my boyfriend, or was my boyfriend until he disappeared. Like he's an asshole. He got pigged.
Yeah, he just bailed on town one day. He was like, "See you later, Tallulah."
My God, 3 L's and an H.
Do you know what I do like though?
What?
I really do like the fact that he is just so in love with her
that he's still doing the thing.
He's still doing it.
Or to be loved by a pig man. There are some, right, I'm just looking at some of Tallulah's lines, and some of them feed like really well into the accent. Like this line here, what do you mean, creatures? Like that kind of, right? But when Tallulah actually says yuck, that's the thing. Are you on the second drink?
Yeah.
By the way, it's Rockstar. It's not, I don't feel, we haven't drank and done an episode in a while.
No. Do you want to? Do you think that would be fun?
We could drink with games next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to the pub. We'll be fucked.
Flares.
No. No. How about that for your answer? Oh, can I just point out a line?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were going to point this out.
Okay.
But I'm going to...
I'll see my notes. What have you got?
So it's when Martha and Tallulah are talking about the doctor.
Yeah.
Do you know the line I'm talking about?
Which one? Is it the one about... Is it the one where she implies the doctor's gay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is... Right, okay.
Oh, I should have realised.
I didn't know
he's
it
into
down.
musical theatre. Like, that's the line. And here's the thing. There's stigma of, like, it's one of those stigmas that you can't get rid of because it is, like, an adolescent stigma. And I feel like anything in schools at, like, age 12, 13, when everyone's picking on everyone, it's just a horrible time.
Yeah.
I feel like those are way difficult, like, way harder to get rid of than, like, adult stigmas of, like...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like how now... smoking green is just a thing that people do.
Yeah.
And it's not like this big... Like, both my parents are strictly against smoking. I don't really do it. You've seen it. Doesn't fucking work. But not that it doesn't work. It's just that I don't think I've put enough effort into it.
It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen in
It's
my
that
life.
I don't put enough effort into
Truly,
it, right?
It's weird as fuck.
But I've still, to this day, I'm like, I think I'm going to be hard-pressed now than I would have been 5 years ago to find someone who does not smoke. Well, the stigma thing that I'm talking about is...
musical theatre being...
If you do drama, musical theatre, that kind of thing, then it is...
But that's one of the weird ones where, like, I'm not saying it is true, but there is, like, a lot of...
Oh, that like there's evidence for it, I guess.
Stuff, yeah.
But, like, I obviously I have stage fright. Me and you've talked about that before. But, like, if I could have done it without feeling like I was going to get picked on or pigeonholed, I probably would have done it. But I was like, there is no universe in which I do this where I don't get, like, ultimate shit for it, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to withstand that because I'm a weak, fragile little boy. Again, I don't mind saying his name because I don't think he cares. Cameron, he did it. He did drama. But I mean,
I did.
You did drama.
I did performing arts, and the reason I did performing arts, not drama, is because performing arts was a BTEC, and I didn't want to do an exam, so I didn't do drama.
That's fair. That's a fair point. Actually.
I would say there was less 6 or 7 guys in my performing arts class.
That's quite a lot.
2 of them were gay.
But then again, like that's the whole thing. Whenever someone says that or said that in school, and they were like, if you go and do acting or performing arts or whatever, then you are gay. 1, so what? 2, and
cool.
And 2, okay, go home and watch all of the TV shows with all the dudes that are in those TV shows.
Yeah, right.
Like in all those sex scenes. What do you expect is happening? Oh,
well,
it's just such a weird...
Do you know
School
what
is a weird time, right?
Do you know what is weird about that? Sorry, I know we're off track, right?
Oh, I
But
don't care.
what is weird about that is how it seems like movie, TV, like on film actors, there is something about that is taken like
Far more seriously
than because it's theatre. That's the one that they're like, this is what gay people do. And I'm like, yeah, you know, gay people want to do theatre. That's allowed. That's fine. But also, what's the difference? Is it because one's like on TV and one's on a stage? Like, what's the defining thing?
I don't know. I feel like it's almost like a stand-up comedy style thing where it's like you just want attention.
Because I feel like if you say that, like, oh, like if you're a dude or whatever and you're like, I want to do acting, then people, I mean, you know, people give you shit regardless because that's just how they are. But like, people will give you less shit if you say you want to act, I feel like, as opposed to if you want to do theatre.
Oh, like those two words, you mean? Like this is like a distinction?
Yeah, because I feel like if you say like I want to be an actor, that implies like movies, TV, that kind of shit. Whereas if you're like,
if you want to do like Broadway and like,
like I want to do theatre, people think like musical theatre and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's such a weird divide because if anything, theatre on paper is way more impressive in terms of it being live, one take. You know, you got to sing, you got to dance, all this kind of stuff. So like, why is that the shit one?
I can't imagine. I mean,
as a theatre lover,
I was always like, I want to do comedy. I would love to do like improv lessons and shit like that. I would love to do all that stuff. But like actual acting never fully interested me. But like as a, as an industry, I guess, I'm like, that is super interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But Tallulah.
3 L's and an H.
3 L's and an H, Tallulah.
It's the depression, sweetie.
It's the depression, sweetie. Yeah, so it's nighttime. Solomon goes back and he does like a little speech. The doctor starts whipping up a doohickey.
Yeah.
And Solomon's like, where are you from? Like, come on, doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking stupid. And by the way, he's not.
No.
Like, Solomon is... If I want the doctor to go back in time and meet people he has already met from back in time.
See them later.
Like, imagine if Shooty goes to back to 1930, or it's like 1933, I guess, and he runs into Solomon and he is like in a bar, he's got a house now, like, you know, whatever's going on, like that kind of thing, and you get, but he's the same Solomon. You've all, like, you know, he's like, he's still this humble dude who's like,
I kind of like the idea of that. You know, like, characters like River and Jack, I guess, who recur.
Yeah, they come back, but in a TARDIS sense, I want someone...
Just like a regular person to do that.
Like, I don't have to have him come back every season. I would just like one episode where he goes and he's there and he's like... And like the doctor's like, hey, you know, I've met you once. You know this time who I am as a time traveler, I guess. You can come in if you want. And Solomon's like, nah, this, like, my life is here in the 30s and like I don't want to change that. And you just have Solomon for another episode? Because it's not very often that happens, right?
No, there's a few classic examples, but even then, that's more in the vein of like actual sort of like freaky space characters, I guess.
Imagine, right, if you could get Hugh Cauchy and Andrew Garfield back for an episode and do another episode set here, and this time Solomon and Frank are running an entire homeless shelter together because they just went into business.
I'm like, that'd be cool. That'd be really nice.
How good of an episode would that be? Like, yeah, you gotta have some alien shenanigans maybe with the homeless again.
Yeah.
But having those two come back and them to be like, the only time I can think, oh no, it's a historical figure, so I don't want to count it, is like the Winston Churchill ringing him up and being like, hey. But I would love for him to go back and just by happenstance run into them and be like, it's happening again, Doctor. And you're like, fucking you two. That's just what I want.
Well, you know, in season 4,
Russell the Deceiver. My number is 07. Call me up. I have to bleep that. That's my real number. That's my actual. Whoops.
See, like, you know when Martha calls the doctor back in season 4, that but from the past.
Yeah, that's the exact vibe I'm going for. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would like that. That would be fun.
Yeah, then we have the bit where Sek makes a bunch of sense, and then he gives Pythagoras sloppy toppy. What?
Your words have consequences.
Do they?
Yeah.
You're disgust.
Yeah.
Well, deal with it. He has a horrible big like hentai tongue thing going on. The CGI is not great
gross
either.
Is what it is.
He's all undulaty.
Yeah, and also I don't like it because of the implication of like, is that what part are you in?
Yeah, like, is that his mouth?
Is it his stomach that you got? Like, what? It's confusing.
Is it like
to me.
a starfish where they just like regurgitate their stomach?
And I mean, I also don't like the fact that like obviously they have to fit a man into this, like a full-sized human man. So what happened to all of the Dalek stuff that was down there anyway? Did they just scoop that out to make room for him?
There's
Five Nights at Freddy's the shit out of him.
That's Matthew Lillard. Dalek Sec is Matthew Lillard the entire time. That's who that was. Can't wait.
This is the bite of 87.
Fuck off. Still can't wait to go to the movie though.
Oh, hell yeah. We're going to get through Barbenheimer weekend first.
I love the when the show starts, you put the devil in me.
Love that song, by the way.
All right, so good.
Banger.
And then Martha sees a pig.
Yeah, why does she run on this? Martha, why do you run across the stage?
And not
go around the back.
Around the curtain.
Yeah, you can cross the back of a stage.
Yeah.
Why do you have to run on front of it? Because the thing is, right, she doesn't even run across to get to the other side. She runs across to get to Tallulah and be like, look at that freak.
And then Martha gets taken, get pigged.
Get pigged. Also, that one lass who's like, I'm going to have, where she's like, I'm not going to be able to sleep.
Oh, from seeing Laszlo.
Because there's something about Laszlo. Like, obviously, he looks more human because he didn't get, like, full converted.
Still has his hair, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's still, like... And it's weird. Maybe it's just because we see him, like, before the pig stuff, but he's still kind of, like, a good-looking dude. Like, he doesn't go, like... Because he says...
Is he a good-looking fella? Like, when he's not pig?
Yeah, he's, like, a good-looking dude, like, when he's, like, a man.
Yeah.
But they like, he says that he managed to escape before they got his mind.
Yes,
but he's still like half pig.
Well, I'm like that made me wonder. Like, has anyone else gotten out halfway through? Like, you can't be the only one.
I have a note here that says so. Like, he says that the Daleks sort people into high and low intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do they class as being low intelligence? Because he escapes them, and I feel like you have to either be it's either pure dumb luck, which with an army does not feel possible. Or you have to have some kind of plan.
This is one of the reasons I would go back to the 30s.
The little, like, angel costume. Yeah. She's looking good. Flapper. Flapper. And of the time, too, right?
And of the time, Flapper. Oh, rare.
an authentic flapper in the flesh.
Don't say flesh about it, though. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
The crane shot.
Yeah.
Right?
And they used it. She used it.
She had the hips going and all sorts. Got the little halo tiara.
If I was seeing this show, I would be thoroughly entertained.
I would like to meet someone who has hair like that just once. Like really dolled up 60s style hair, 30s style hair, my bad. I keep saying 60s.
Yeah, Martha just goes out onto stage here.
That's jumping from person to person. The Doctor realising that Scarra, by the way, is like such a good performance of him being like, that would...
Yeah.
Like that moment in his...
The face crack.
Yeah. He's like, okay. He's like, fuck, run. Scarrow, fuck. Straight out of there.
Sprinting.
There's a noise that Tallulah makes. It's kind of like a at some point.
Yeah, when she's like, whoa,
yeah. That. Okay, right. I was like, at first I was like, am I just hearing things? But I made a note of it just in case.
The thing is, she does it, and my brain is like, oh yeah, that's a 30s thing to do.
Why are you right?
Like, why I on it? You know, that sort of like...
Is that you? Was that you trying the accent for the first time properly?
A little bit.
Yeah, well, happy that you did it.
Thanks. But like...
Get out of that show.
You know, yeah, she does do that.
When they go... So Tallulah follows the Doctor down because Martha gets pignapped.
And then she says that bit that I think is great where the Doctor's like, oh, it's dangerous for you to be down here or whatever. And she says, well, that's my problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is another thing.
And the Doctor doesn't... The Doctor's just like, all right, doesn't question it.
Because I'm like, Tallulah is a side character because I'm like, we've off the podcast when we've just been talking about this show, Tallulah seems to come up like more than once. Tallulah has come up just in our conversations about the show, and I'm like, I think that because I've said many times that I want companions from the past. I don't need to see
Tallulah
another
would be
person.
A good one.
Yeah, from like modern day England.
She's got like an Astrid Peth vibe going.
Yeah, Tallulah would be so good, and it was this scene here where I was like, I would love that actually.
Check a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. This. Helen Raynor, of the revival, first female writer at all.
Yeah.
I think she's just writing good women way better than, like, just writing women way better than men do. And that's why this is way more endearing, because the women are actually proper, like, characters.
Yeah.
She's given them depth. In this and in Torchwood, she has given women, like, actual stories to be told and not just...
Yeah. And stories that feel like stories for women, as opposed to like, we need another character in there. Let's put a woman in.
Helen did do 2 more. She also did Sontara and Stratagem and Poison Sky.
That, you know what? That's
Makes
cool.
sense, yeah.
Because the relationship between Donna and Martha in that episode is also like really solid.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Helen Raynor, friend of the podcast.
I would because she hasn't done anything after that from what I can see. But I would love to Are
we putting it on the list of wants for RTD2 then?
Oh,
like more Helen Raynor episodes.
If that is still a thing, I don't know anything about them personally, I might do a little searchy uppy at some point and be like, what else have they written? Because very good writing. But I think that just you saying that the women are treated, even periodically, women are just treated very differently and very well, and that Tallulah's got this bit of an attitude about her, but she's very independent still.
Yeah.
And, between her and Laszlo, she's the one with the quote-unquote proper job. He is like a stage tech, and she is like the front of stage.
She's, Tallulah's another one of those characters in Doctor Who where I know what she was doing before this episode started and I know what she's going to do when it finishes.
Yeah.
She does not just exist in this thing, she feels like an actual person.
Yeah.
Apparently, never mind, sorry.
Okay. When they go into the sewers, Tallulah and the Doctor, and then the Dalek passes and they hide. I'm sure I've seen Daleks detect people before.
I was going to say, this Dalek has no peripheral vision.
Well, even just on a sensor, I'm sure that they have detected humans and being like, human on board or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, surely...
No, I mean, I suppose this is convenient and I guess the visual is good.
Of it, yeah, it's kind of creepy.
And when...
I will say, in these sewer tunnels, the Daleks look gigantic. They look like actual threateningly sized. Normally, they look like, shoulderish height, which even then is still kind of threatening. But I don't think... do you know what I think it is?
What?
I think it's the side angle of them. How their fronts slope out.
Oh, yeah.
We're always seeing the Daleks from the front and we never see them from the side. I think in this episode we see them from the side enough where we go that's quite big.
It's a big thing,
it's scary. Big and scary. And then
Helen Raynor, sorry, she's also done a big finish.
Oh.
She wrote one of the short trips. It was like an anthology thing. She wrote one with the Second Doctor and Jamie.
I don't know who that is, but yes, let's we'll have a look at
Jamie McCrimmon.
Oh, I think that's ringing bells.
I mentioned him
with
before.
The surname, yeah. One of the things I don't like in this is when they find Laszlo, right?
And when he says something about the final experiment and he says it like final experiment.
No, I love that actually.
What, that he says it like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they have a thing where they're like, you being half pig, half human is killing you. So
I thought he was just being like Stevie from Malcolm in the Middle.
No, the fact that before we know that it is killing him, there is this little seed of he is out of breath, he's exhausted, not just from running through the tunnels, but because he's actually dying.
Okay,
that's pretty cool.
I take it back. Oh. That's cool. Never mind.
If I change your mind,
you changing my mind.
Tallulah saying "Who are you" 3 times really annoys me because she says it like "Who are you?" Really robotic. All 3 times she says it like that, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, just say your last.
No, I think it's that she knows, right? I think she knows, or she knows, but she wants, she doesn't want it to be true.
Yeah, but Laszlo's cryptic as well. He's like, yeah, I was there. Tallulah's like, who are you? And he goes, I was lonely. Who are you? I needed to see you. Who are you? I'm sorry. Dude. Just tell her. Oh
yeah,
my
no,
God.
I'm like, by that last who are you, they both, after he says I needed to see you,
yeah,
she knows and she doesn't want it to be true.
Well, that's fair enough, I guess, as an in denial thing. I'm just like, episode's 48 minutes, guys.
We gotta go.
Please.
We gotta get this on the road.
Anyway, Frank's in line, right? They're all in the queue. They're on the death queue.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Does Martha know about Daleks from Doomsday? Was there enough in the sky for her to be like, fuck?
I don't know.
Because someone says Dalek and she goes
Dalek? Yeah.
But I don't remember the Doctor bringing it up ever.
No, I don't. But he must.
The only thing I can assume is at the end of Gridlock when he's telling her everything, the time war. And
we're going to be really stupid now. And they're going to have had a full conversation about it at some point, and we're just dumb fucks. And I'll tell you what, if you hold for a second, I'm going to find it out right now.
Right, I'll see if I've got anything else in my notes here. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to pull it up here when they are in the sewers and they've got when they have the line up.
Yep. Sorry, the end of Gridlock. There was a war, a time
Yeah,
war,
that's
the
what I'm
last great time war. My people fought a race called the Daleks for the sake of all creation. So yeah, we're fucking stupid.
Isn't it super insane that they go to New York and then they go to regular New York and the story that he was telling her about the horrible,
just
horrible
perfectly
creatures
feeds in.
they're here too, and he's like,
Well,
good thing we were in 1 New York and 2 I already gave you the background of the Daleks.
If we assume, like we've said, if we assume that all of these first like 4 or 5 adventures happen like back to back, there's no other stuff that goes on between them. He told her that story like 6 hours ago.
Right.
Like absolute perfect prep time.
Look at Frank's. He doesn't have a line here, by the way.
Just his face.
Just look how fucking angry and fucking disgusted Andrew Garfield is. This is when I was telling you there's some like little things that he is doing. And I'm like, you are kind of out-acting people.
He is being an actor in this episode.
Oh, with a capital A.
Yeah. He's putting on a performance for sure.
Like, fucking look, he's like, oh, I'll fucking kill you. Fucking get you. It's so good. Is this, because we have skipped a bit, I'm pretty sure, right?
I probably.
Yeah, we definitely have.
Yeah.
That I do want to talk about. And that is Solomon going back to Hooverville and giving his little speech of like, yes, we don't fight.
Yeah, it's like, we got to pull up arms now.
And it was
do that.
It was dark. And I was like, is this an overnight story? 1 24-hour slot? Because I don't remember.
I know that there is a nighttime in this episode, yeah. Because I really specifically remember one visual because of something I'll tell you next week. But
I'm like, is there a... That's during the day?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is an overnight story.
It's just one night, right?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's just one night.
So I remember Hooverville at night, but and then I was like, oh, it must have been... Yeah,
well, if Tallulah's putting on a show, then they normally start at like 7. So yeah.
So you get there early in the morning, you're here overnight. And also, it doesn't do the weird Cyberman episode where they just stay there for a few hours just because they have to leave during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's that.
What does that say? I've got a little, I don't know what is said.
All right.
But Frank does like a little, oh, yeah, it's when they're walking away. And Martha's like, oh, I'm glad to see you. And the doctor's like, oh, yeah, you can kiss me later. And
he goes, and like you too if you want, Frank.
Look at Frank's little smile when he says it. He's like, oh, I'm getting some. So, I love all the characters in this. Just really, I know that some people don't like Daleks in Manhattan because the story is like a little silly for the Daleks, especially by the end when he's like, I'm a human Dalek.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. There's a look, by the way, when they get here. One of the Daleks goes past. Oh, it's missing plates. I used to have that on a toy.
I wanted the toy so bad.
Where you play the plates would come off. Yeah,
I wanted it so bad.
You should have caught the doctor in that look there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the way the Dalek's head turns when it's going down the lineup of people, right? It goes down and
it's pretty much looking at him.
Big cut. You should have caught it. I think that it probably did look at one point and they had to like cut it very specifically so that he's looking on like he's on the back turn as it cuts to this angle. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah,
see, this is the thing about the episode when I'm like, oh, I don't love the Daleks here as much as I do in the second part or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just because of dumb stuff like this. But ultimately, it doesn't matter.
I love Dalek sex eye stalk light going out.
Yeah.
Like he's no longer that anymore.
You know what I like? I like it when it behaves like an actual eye, and sometimes they like dilate as well.
The light's like, and there he is.
And there he is,
the human Dalek.
I suppose we'll talk a little bit more about Dalek next week. But
I had the helmet.
Yeah, I know he did.
Was that another one you wanted?
Yeah, I wanted all the toys. I got like.
We got a Slovene if you want to play with a Slovene.
I dare not open that box.
Yeah, me too. I hate the fact that I love the fact that you got me, but God, I hate the fact that you got me that because I'm too scared to remove it from the box.
Yeah.
The thing is, if it was like a new figure, like when they do how they've done the 14 and
yeah,
I wouldn't mind ripping those things out of a box.
This is just,
but that one I'm like
special.
Also, sneaky eye holes.
Oh yeah,
have you never noticed that before?
I've never looked.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, lips here, nose there, which means you follow the nose up, eye. Yeah.
Oh, that's clear. Right, now I can't not look at it. So
yeah, you can't unsee it, so I'm sorry.
Cheers.
But yeah, that is horrible to look at, the human Dalek.
Yeah.
But that's Daleks in Manhattan. Do you have any trivia?
Yeah, I do. I have no idea why I shut my computer down.
Did you?
No, I didn't shut it down. I just put the lid down.
Okay, I was going to say.
No, yes, I have a few little bits of trivia. One of them was that apparently this episode was going to be called Daleks Take New York, but then they changed it to Manhattan because it's easier to say.
Take Manhattan.
Daleks in Manhattan, whatever. But yeah, they changed the New York to Manhattan because it's easier to say. Apparently there was a cut little thing because of expense.
Yeah.
Where Tallulah would find a cage full of the Dalek like genetic experiments, like all the failed ones and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know where you would like it would be cool.
What were they going to be like? Half pig?
It doesn't say. It just says failed genetic experiments. So I assume it would just be something horrible, like some kind of like disgusting.
Yes, I can't imagine it being human Daleks because you would need a Dalek for that, right?
Yeah.
You need to do the transfery thing.
So I assume it would either be more of the little like jellyfishy.
I was thinking the jellyfishy
stuff like
ones,
that,
yeah.
Or like some I don't know, some pig thing, whatever. Also, this one, right? It was a bit of trivia on Gridlock, and I just ignored it because I didn't think it was particularly interesting. But they repeated it again this week, and I'm like, oh, and that is like the whole concept of the fake gun being foreshadowing for the finale, because how, you know, when Martha gets kidnapped in Gridlock, that was when it was before there, how they have a gun to her, but they're like, it's not a real gun.
Because of the, and
then in this one, Tallulah picks up
weapon,
a gun, and
the
she's
whole
like,
weapon plot of this
and she just goes, oh, it's, you know, it's a prop, and throws it to the side. And now I'm like, that's a fun
Last of
thing
the Time Lords.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And I'm like, we got to look for it now.
Yeah.
Right? Surely see if there's any more fake guns. But I'm like, that's
fucking
that is fun. That is cool, actually. Like I didn't realize, but yeah.
You should have mentioned that last week.
I know. I'm sorry that I didn't.
Could dictate it. Is that all we have?
That's all I've got for trivia. What about ratings?
Go on. I love this.
I'm unsure about it. Like I'm not gonna lie, the conversation has swayed me a little
to enjoying it more.
Yeah.
I love this one, man. I know it's stupid, okay? I know that.
I know. Like, don't get me wrong, I never hated it, but like
4.5. There's a few little things that I'm like, and that's a 4.5 of me going, I know this is silly, and I'm gonna let this one be silly.
I'll give it a 4.
Where there's like a few little things like the Dalek being stupid, like that kind of thing does knock it down. But the characters, everything is solid. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? If it wasn't for the weird, like, you know, Daleks just having brain powers because
just cause,
and missing the obvious things, probably could have been a 5.
I'll give this one a 4 personally.
I don't think I like the next part as much.
I think I like it more, so we'll see. I
don't remember the next part as much. That's why I think I don't like it as much, because I think depending on how much I remember, I think I enjoyed this part more.
Fun and experiment either way.
Where do we rewind everywhere, you know?
Everywhere.
Just in case you'd forgotten. I know you, because you don't run any like the social stuff, but just in case you'd forgotten, that's because I'm a
piece of shit though. So.
Well, yeah. We'll see you next week for
Evolution of the Daleks.
I always forget.
It's Evolution of the Daleks.
See you then.
Season 4, 3, episode 5.
Yes, there you go.
Bye.
Bye. That'll be episode 37. 39 of the podcast.
Fuck off.
Bye.
Bye.